All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to tackle one of the most important concepts in modern JavaScript, promises. We're going to break down how they take what can be really messy code and turn it into something that's clean, easy to read, and just way more efficient. I love this analogy because it just clicks, right? Think about it. When you ask JavaScript to do something that takes a little while, like fetching data from a server, it doesn't just stop everything and make you wait. Instead, it hands you a promise. It's like an IOU that says, hey, I'm on it, and I'll get back to you with the result. It's a perfect way to think about handling tasks that aren't instant.
Okay, so that's the big idea. But what does this actually look like in code? What is a promise, technically speaking?
At the end of the day, a promise is just an object. You can think of it as a placeholder or a little stand-in for a value that you're waiting for but you don't have just yet. And this one little object is the key to managing all those time-consuming operations without freezing up your entire application. So every single promise has a life story, you could say. It always starts out in the pending state. That's you at the restaurant, waiting for your food. From there, it can only go one of two ways. It can be fulfilled, which is success, your food has arrived, or it can be rejected. Oops, something went wrong, maybe they ran out of an ingredient. But that's it. Every promise eventually settles into one of those two final states, fulfilled or rejected.
Now, to really appreciate why promises are such a game changer, we have to look at the world before they existed. And the problem they solve has a pretty dramatic name.
And yeah, this is it. This is what developers had to deal with. If you needed to run several asynchronous tasks, one after the other, you'd end up with this pyramid of doom. See how each function is nested inside the last one? Trying to follow the logic or, God forbid, debug this thing is an absolute nightmare. Thankfully, promises give us a way out of this mess. The solution is a really elegant pattern called promise chaining. And I mean, look at the difference. It's night and day. On the left, you've got that tangled mess. But on the right, you have this beautiful, clean, linear chain of .then calls. Each .then is a step in the process. It's so easy to read from top to bottom. And maybe the best part? You can handle any errors from any of the steps in one single .catch at the very end. It's just a whole new way of writing asynchronous code. And the way it works is actually super straightforward. When you make a new promise, you're basically setting up two paths. You call resolve if everything went well, and that sends the result to the next .then in the chain. Or you call reject if something broke, and that immediately jumps down to your .catch block. This clear separation of success and failure is what makes it all so readable. Okay, so we've covered the what, the why, and the how. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty using promises in the real world, and more importantly, how to avoid some of the common mistakes people make.
Let's talk about a few classic tripwires. First, forgetting to return inside a then function. If you kick off another asynchronous task but forget to return its promise, you've broken the chain and the next step won't know when to run. Second, not having a catch function. This one's huge. Seriously. An unhandled rejection can silently fail or even crash your app. Always have that safety net. And finally, a subtle one. Remember that creating the promise is instant, it's synchronous. It's the result, the fulfillment or rejection, that's asynchronous and handled later on.
And hey, if this topic ever comes up in a technical interview, here's your cheat sheet to absolutely nail it. Start with the definition. A promise is an object that represents a future value. List off the three states: pending, fulfilled, and rejected. Then explain the problem it solves. It was invented to clean up callback hell. And if you really want to impress them, add the bonus point. Mention that the modern async/await syntax is really just a cleaner, more readable way to work with promises under the hood. So that's the scoop on promises. They aren't just some neat feature. They are the absolute backbone of how modern JavaScript handles anything that doesn't happen instantly. Getting comfortable with them is going to make your code so much more reliable and professional. You've got the foundation now. The only question left is, what are you ready to build next?